Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. We're going to be spending the next hour and a half together in what I call the boot camp. It's also a sanctuary for those of us who are on this side of craziness. It's a boot camp in the sense that I want this place to be a place where we empower ourselves. We empower ourselves by focusing on our physical health, our emotional health, our spiritual health. And so today, for those of you who are new here, we alternate from week to week. And this week, we're going to be practicing a breathing exercise. And so before we do that, we're going to be doing some joint exercise. But all of this requires that we anchor our mind either on our body or our breath. We anchor our mind on our body when we're moving, whether we are walking or doing exercise. So let's learn to focus. This is the word that the student used last week was focus and redirect. So focus our mind on the body, anchor our mind on the lower part of the spine. Slowly walk up the spine towards the top of the head. As you do that, I want you to stretch the spine one joint at a time. Feel the change in your body. And then I want you to lean back the upper torso to a point just before you're about to fall, and then relax. Now we're putting all our weight on the spine when we do that and not on the muscle. So that itself is already a relaxation technique by removing the load on our muscle. Next, we're going to focus on the top of our shoulder. We're going to lift up the shoulder as high as we can. And then we're going to open the shoulder as if we're squeezing a tennis ball in the back. And then we're going to relax. We're going to do some joint exercise starting with the wrist to the elbow to the shoulder. Later on, we're going to do the same thing for the lower part of the body, the heel, the knee, and the hip. Now let's anchor our mind on the center of a palm. We raise our hands together with our mind all the way up. Now we're going to focus on our wrists. We're going to turn our wrist one turn at a time. And every time before you turn, you make a habit of asking yourself, where's my mind? If my mind is somewhere else having random thoughts, invite your mind back to your wrist. As you turn your wrist from the beginning to the end, focus on the change in your wrist. See if there's any heat, sweat, numbness, tightness, even pain. And when you get to the end, that's the time that you recommit yourself to another turn, one turn at a time, one turn at a time. Now, this is the same thing that we do when we do sitting meditation. We also focus on the breath, one breath at a time. So we talk about empowering. This is what you have to do to empower yourself, not let your emotion be controlled by someone else. And now we're going to turn it the other way. Focus on your wrists. Continue to examine the change in your wrists, one turn at a time, one turn at a time. Every time you finish, you recommit. When you start, you invite your mind on your wrist. Now we're going to lower our hand, but before you do that, make sure that your mind is at the center of your palm. You bring it back down the same way you brought it up. Now we're back to the spine. Stretch the spine, lift up the shoulder, open the shoulder, lean back, relax. We're moving from the wrist to the elbow. Once again, focus on the center of your palm. Bring up your hands all the way up. Now focus on the elbow, one turn at a time, one turn at a time, one turn at a time. Continue to examine the change in your elbow. And now we're going to turn the other way, one turn at a time. Keep focusing on your elbow. Keep examining the change in your elbow. And now we're going to bring the hands down, same way we brought it up. Back to the spine, stretch the spine, lift up the shoulder, lean back, open the shoulder, relax the spine. Now we're moving from the wrist to the elbow to the shoulder. Let's focus once again on the center of your palm. Bring up your hand. This time we're going to cross a hand. Bring it up in front of you. Bring it all the way on top of you. And then we're going to stretch towards the ceiling. And before you come down, focus on the center of your palm. Turn your wrist 90 degrees. Open the shoulder, pointing the center of your palm outside. Feel the pain on your shoulder. Let go of the pain. Come back to the center of your palm. Whatever happened in the past, just let it go. Don't let that pain become suffering. Turn your wrist outward. Feel the pain on your shoulder. Open your shoulder as much as you can. Bring it back up again. Stretch. Open the shoulder. Point your palm outward. Feel the pain in your shoulder. Let go of the pain. Come back to the center of your palm. Keep anchoring your mind on your body no matter what happened. Open the shoulder. Feel it. And then let it go one more time. Come in front of you, on top of you. Stretch. And then open the shoulder. Let go of the pain. And now we're going to turn the other way. Open the shoulder. Stretch. Bring it back down. Open the shoulder. Stretch. Bring it back down. Open the shoulder. Stretch. Bring it back down. Open the shoulder. Stretch. And then bring it back down. All right. Now we're going to move from front to back. Now it's very important that you treat this as a meditation and not just a simple exercise of the body. And when you treat it as a meditation, this is mindfulness in motion. And so you're always anchoring your mind on your body, on the center of your palm, feel the pain, let go of the pain. And one of the things that happens when you do that is that your mouth is very wet. And the reason your mouth is very wet is that you're able to cycle between the fight or flight when you actually move the body, and then the rest of the digest when you come back to focus your mind and in control of your mind. Okay, and having saliva inside, having a wet mouth is very important to your health because the saliva is what turns on your immune system and your digestion, right? And the reason that you don't have saliva when you're excited is because when you're being chased by a lion, you don't need digestion. You don't need immunity. So it turns it off. All right. All right. So now come back. We'll continue to do the shoulder exercise. This time, come back to this back, the lower part of your spine. Walk up the spine, stretch your spine, lift up your shoulder, lean back, open the shoulder, relax. We're going to front to back now. Focus on the center of your palm. Bring it up in front of you, on top of you. Don't leave the center of your palm. And then open the shoulder as far back as you can. Feel the pain in your shoulder. Accept that pain. Let go of the pain. Come back to the center of your palm. What's past is past. Okay? And lift it up again. All the way back. Feel that pain. Accept that pain. Let go of the pain. Up. Open. Feel it. Accept it. And then let it go. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Bring it up, follow the hand, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. One more time. Up in front of you, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Now sit up straight, hands in the back, bring it up, stretch, come down, all the way back, stretch, come down, all the way back. Stretch, come down one more time, all the way back, stretch, and then bring it back down. Now we're going from dynamic to static. We continue to do meditation, and instead of mindfulness in motion, now we're mindfulness sitting still. So we have four postures, whether we are moving or sitting or standing or lying down We're very, we need to figure out, am I moving or not moving? If I'm moving, I anchor my mind on my body. And when I'm not moving, I anchor my mind on my breath. So you focus on your breathing and you start with knowing. I know that I'm breathing in. I know that I'm breathing out. Right? This is especially important when you finish a energetic exercise, because when you're doing energetic exercise, you're obviously in fight or flight, and when you want to be able to maintain that harmony by coming back immediately to the rest and digest. And when you come back, the first thing you should notice is that, oh, I'm huffing and puffing because my breath is very rough. That means my mind is very rough. And so the way to settle down your mind is to settle down your breath. And the way to settle down your breath is very simple. Just pay attention to it. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Okay? All right. So now we have three more exercises before we sit down, do a sit down meditation. And these three exercises actually part of the Shalom training. Um, but in a sense, we're also using them to practice mindfulness. And I talk about the foundations of mindfulness. And the foundation of mindfulness could be on the breath, which, or it can be on the feeling of the body. And so let's continue to practice the feeling on the body. Feel the pain, let go of the pain, right? Feel the pain, accept the pain, let go of the pain, right? And that's a basic survival skill these days, right? So if you happen to listen to what our current president is talking about, you're going to create all kinds of negative emotions, whether it's pain, hate, uh, uh, um, um, all kinds of negative emotions. And you just have to learn to accept it, right? Feel it, accept it, and then just let it go. Don't follow it. This is going to change anyway. All right. So this is a basic survival skill, right? Basic empowerment skill is to feel it, accept it, and then let it go. So let's do one more exercise before we get ready for the sitting meditation. All right. Once again, stretch. It's very important to learn to stretch. And then lean back, relax, lift up the shoulder, open the shoulder, and then relax. This exercise is called the double blade. One hand is one blade, another hand is another blade. So the left hand in front of you, we're going to keep that stationary. Now we're going to move only the right hand using only the left brain. We're going to focus on the center of a palm. We're going to bring the hands in front of you, follow the center of your palm. And then we're going to bring it back as far back as you can. Open the shoulder, feel the pain on your shoulder, accept that pain, let go of the pain, come back to the center of your palm, focus on the left hand, bring it in front of you, feel the pain, accept that pain, let go of the pain, right hand, sit up straight, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Come back to the center of your palm, left hand, sit up straight, bring it around, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Right hand, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Sit up straight, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. The other side, two more times, okay? Right hand, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Left hand, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Okay? Now we come back to the sitting position. We're now focusing on the breath. Once again, examine your breath. When you finish with the energetic exercise, you can feel that your breathing is very rough. So just focus on it, speak to it, whisper to it. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. One breath at a time. Slow it down. Slow it down. Feel the inside of your mouth. Okay. So I talk about the two dogs that I have in my house, and they're actually very good way of understanding this spiritual practice. And I have a big German Shepherd, and then I have the tiny little one, and and they behave very differently. Interesting. They behave very differently. So the little one is always barking. Doesn't matter if the UPS is across the street or someone's walking down with another dog. He's always barking. The big one, the German Shepherds, don't bark at all. You sit there and listen, and then whatever comes by, feel it, accept it, and then just let it go. Because he has a responsibility, right? He's a German Shepherd, so he has a responsibility. He's there to guard the property. He's there to guard the door. And as long as you're outside of the gate, outside the door, none of his business. His job is to examine that. As you come in, he feel it, and then if you leave and he accept it, and then he let it go and come back to the next one. And that's actually how we practice. Whatever it is that we feel, whether it's pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, or neutral feeling, doesn't matter. We feel it, we accept it, and then we let it go. As long as it doesn't enter a door, the doors are the sensors. So we talk about the sense doors, the six sense doors, the eye, the nose, the ear, the tongue, the skin, or the body, and most importantly is the thinking mind. We're here to guard those doors. Whatever happens in the outside, don't let it come in. But if you follow it, then basically it's inside. So if you listen to someone speaking craziness, as long as your life is not in danger, you feel it, you accept it, and just let it go. Because he's trying to manipulate you. He's trying to make you into a victim. Don't fall for victimhood. Empower yourself by saying, I know how to guard my senses, right? Just like the German Shepherds. Now, the only time he barks, he doesn't even bark when UPS deliver a package because they drop it on the outside the house. The only time he barks like crazy, is that when the mailman comes. The mailman puts the mail inside the mailbox. Now that's crossing the line. He barks like crazy, and the mailman runs away. Right? It's funny how you can observe our animal friends and use it as a good example of our spiritual practice to empower ourselves. All right. So this is the meditation on the feeling. And now we're going to do the second part, which is how to meditate on a breath by learning how to actually let go of our physicality, let go of our physical existence. And if you don't let it go, you're not able to see the other dimensions of your existence, the spiritual aspect of it. You can't see it when you're so attached to your physicality. All right. And so we're going to do two more exercise. Two more exercise. One is an energetic exercise, put our body into the fight or flight, and then followed by a restorative exercise by returning the body in the rest and digest. I talk a great deal about Western medicine and how, uh, I mean, it's to a point where it's really comical. It's really comical, right? The Western medicine treats only the symptoms, right? Because it's the only thing they can measure. And they first tell you that you're in trouble because they show you the data, and then they subscribe the medicine to show you how the data goes away. That's a cure, except that they never question, you know, why you have high blood pressure, why you have high cholesterol. Those are actually symptoms. They tell me that your body is in bad health, but they don't actually go deeper and say, what causes high blood pressure. Right? I mentioned that 90% of the hypertension is called essential hypertension, meaning they don't know. They don't know, it just happens. So these days I'm reading, and now they're talking about cortisol. They discovered that people who are inflamed, whose body is inflamed, has lots of cortisol in the body. And so now they identify the culprit and they say, oh, too much cortisol. So we're going to have to invent a medicine to eliminate the cortisol. But cortisol is what you put on your body. Hydrocortisol is what you put on your body to eliminate inflammation. This doesn't cause inflammation, but it doesn't matter. It's a symptom. Let's knock it out. So the reason there's a correlation between inflammation and cortisol, not the causality. See, there's a difference. A correlation between inflammation and cortisol is because cortisol is there to reduce inflammation. It's there when your body enters into fight or flight. We're designed that way, right? Remember we talked about living in a cave. When you're outside the cave under the sun, you're in danger, and the Chinese call it the yang. And your body puts out stress hormone because you need it. It turns off all your other biological functions because you don't need it. And then when you return back into safety of the cave, you're now back into the rest and digest, and the body restores harmony. So the reasons that our body inflame is because we lost that harmony. We're always under stress. And when you're always under stress, your body is filled with cortisol, and your body develops something called cortisol resistance. It's not, it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore, right? And so you lose your self healing power. So the key is not in eliminating cortisol. The key is restoring that harmony, and that's what we're going to do next. First, we're going to put our body in fight or flight, and the next exercise is called throwing the shoulder. So let's come back to our body, stretch your spine, lift up our shoulder, lean back, open the shoulder, and then relax. Let's bring out our right hand, focus on the center of the palm, make a fist, get ready. One, come back. Two, come back. Down, down, up, up, down, down. One more time. Up, up, down, down. Two hands, open the shoulder. One, two, three, four, and five. All right. Now the body is full of cortisol because it thinks that, oh, this must be being chased by a lion. Right? You know that we're exercising. The cavemen don't exercise. Now we need to come back to a breath. First thing we're going to notice is that the breathing is very rough. All right. Time to whisper to ourselves. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Okay. All right. So now the exercise puts a body into the rest and digest. Put it into the what's called the parasympathetic. And when you rest and digest, right, the parasympathetic nerve system, one big portion of that is called the vagus nerve, which starts basically at the bottom of your skull from the two sides below the ear, and then it comes together in the back. From the back, enters into the stomach and actually become part of your connective tissue diaphragm system. So this one is all about relaxation. So let's come back to this body, stretch, lift up, lean back, open, relax. Okay, now open the shoulder one more time. All right, so once you open the shoulder, I want you to put your thumb in front of your shoulder, roll up the four fingers. Now, this exercise is very simple. It comes into four configurations. First configuration, we're going to focus on our elbow. We're going to lift up our elbow. As we lift up our elbow, we lift up our shoulder. We lift up the entire upper torso as if we're bringing the shoulder to our ears. The second configuration, we continue to follow the elbow. This time we point our elbow back. As we point our elbow back, we open our shoulder. It's as if we're squeezing a tennis ball in the back. The third configuration is when we lower the elbow, we're completely relaxed. And then the last one is when we point the elbow forward. And this time we're bending our back, we're bending our neck, we're looking straight down to the floor. All right. Now from here, we're going to lift, come back to the first configuration where we lift up our elbow. This time we're looking at the camera. As we continue, we turn our elbow back. We're looking at the ceiling, 45-degree, until we're completely opening the shoulder. Then we point it back down again, looking straight at the camera again. And then as we point the elbow forward, we're looking at the floor. Now it's best that you close your eye when you do this. All right. So from here, we're going to take a very steady in breath. We breathe in all the way until we're completely open. And then we breathe out as if we're squeezing the air from our lung until we're completely hunched. Breathe in, and then we breathe out. Now, make sure when you breathe out, you say to yourself, you whisper to yourself, relax. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Relax. One more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Lower your hand. All right, so now we're going to do sitting meditation. Now, you might think that, oh, sitting meditation, that means that we're putting our body in the rest and digest, right? Well, actually, the key is not to put your body into one or the other. The key is to create harmony. And so, actually, when we do sitting meditation, even though when we're not moving, we're cycling between um, fight or flight and rest and digest. And we do that by using our diaphragm, by breathing with the stomach. All right. But before we do anything, we always start with the body. Always start with the body. So let's divide the body into 7 parts. And whether you're sitting on a mat like I am, or you're sitting on a chair, the first part are the legs, right? Now, when we sit, we say we sit like a bell, like the Liberty Bell. And so your feet are like the pedestal. And so if you sit on the chair, which is perfectly fine, just make sure that the bottom of your feet are touching the ground. So you're not sitting too high and you're not sitting too low, which means that the bottom of your feet ought to be right below the knee, not in front, not in the back. So just make sure that the height of your seat is proper for your body. And if you sit like I do on a mat, if you need to, you make sure you put some pillows and blankets below the knee so you're not using any muscle, right? The next thing you want to do is on your hand, that's the second part. Just want to relax your hand. You don't have to lift up, do anything. Just all I want you to do is relax. So just put on your thigh, put on your knee, put on your calf, wherever. Right? Just don't lift it up. Don't use muscle. Now, the third part is the spine. We've been working on the spine. I'm going to add a little bit of detail to how you're supposed to sit. But first, we're going to come back to the bottom of a spine. And from the bottom of the spine, we walk up the spine towards the top of the head. We stretch the spine as if we're hanging it on the ceiling, right? So we sit like the bell. Your spine is like the clapper inside your bell. We just want to hang it from the ceiling. All right. So after you stretch your spine, I want you to do this one thing that sometimes I mention here, sometimes I don't. And what you want to do is you want to lean forward first, and then you lean back. But as you lean back, you focus on your hip, and it's as if you're keeping the hip stationary as you lean back the upper torso. You feel the stress right behind your adrenal gland. Okay, so you want to maintain a little bit of pressure there, and you if you would notice the difference. And if you sit for a long time, maybe not so much in 15 minutes, but if you go to a meditation class, they sit for an hour, then you find that it really makes a difference when you turn your hip forward and you feel like a burst of energy. And so you lean back, you lean back, you lean back to the point where you're like, oh, I'm just going to fall over. Okay, all right there, relax. So now you're putting your weight of your upper torso on your spine. You're not using as little back muscle as possible. Next thing you want to do is you lift up your shoulder and then you open that shoulder and you make sure you relax the shoulder. So you relax it one more time. Next thing you want to do is you want to focus on your forehead. You lean back your forehead as if you're putting the ears on top of your shoulder. And then you tuck in your chin, lining the top of the head with the central nervous system, pointing at the sky. So this way, it takes away the reliance on the neck muscle The weight of the head is on top of the spine as if you're balancing a bowling ball. But more important than that is that you're forming a straight line. This is called one pillar supporting the sky. Finally, you come to your eyelid. You close your eye, but you relax the eyelid. So you see a little bit of light coming through your eyelashes. You can kind of barely see your hand, your knee, the floor, and just relax. Finally, you want to take the tongue, put the tip of the tongue behind your teeth, right where the teeth meets the roof of your mouth. Close your mouth. Now, what that does is that it forces your saliva gland. It reactivates your saliva gland, so you feel saliva inside your mouth, and also it forces the saliva to flow into your stomach and not into your lung, so you don't choke on your own saliva. And then finally, as you will see, it also completes the electrical path. Once you settle down on the body, we're going to do the first step, which is focus on the belly button. So I want you to focus on the belly button and then examine your breathing. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. So when you breathe in, I want you to take that belly button and bring it forward, opening the stomach, bringing down the diaphragm. And then when you breathe out, I want you to take the belly button and bring it back, closing the stomach, lifting up the diaphragm. Okay? Now it might be difficult for you to do that, but just try it anyway. And try it anyway. And you'll find that later on when we practice the breathing exercise, it would help to do that. Okay? All right, so let's just sit for 3 minutes. Preparation, sit for 3 minutes. Breathe in, move the belly button forward. Breathe out, move the belly button back, one breath at a time. Okay, so that's just simple exercise, learning how to breathe more with our stomach. Our stomach doesn't breathe, right? The stomach doesn't breathe. What we're really talking about is using the diaphragm, using more of the diaphragm. So when you breathe in, you lower the diaphragm, increasing the lung capacity, get more oxygen into your body. And when you breathe out, you lift up the diaphragm so you can push out all the stale air from the bottom of your lung. And so you can imagine how that would help your health. But they also help by this in the sense that when you move the diaphragm, it actually cycles between the two autonomous system, nerve system. When you breathe in, you lower your diaphragm, you enter into fight or flight. And when you breathe out, you raise up the diaphragm, you return back into the rest and digest. Now you find that most of the people whose body is inflamed, meaning that they have too much cortisol in the body, it doesn't make much difference whether they move the diaphragm up or move the diaphragm down. The heart rates are the same. But when you practice this abdominal technique, then when you breathe in, you actually increase the heart rate because you're truly in the fight or flight. And when you breathe out, you relax, the heart rate actually goes down because you are truly in the rest and digest. That change in the heart rate is called heart rate variability, HRV. It's only in the milliseconds, but you can measure with your Apple Watch. It actually exists as a number. The scientists have done experiment with a large group of people. Half of them they practice abdominal breathing, and the other half just practice simple relaxation. And they find that one group that practiced the abdominal breathing actually have a improved HRV, whereas the other side didn't make any difference. And they can actually correlate HRV, improvement in HRV, with reducing the probability of having dementia. Because dementia is inflammation of the brain, right? So this way of practicing using abdominal breathing is actually very important to your health. And that's why it's part of the longevity exercise for thousands of years in China. Now, the second part, we're going to do a little bit more by cycling the qi, this life energy, through our spine. And the, at the moment, the qi is really just static electricity that you generate in your intestines because you're massaging it, right? By the way, when you massage your intestines, actually improve, it just improve your digestion, reduce your chance of having constipation. All right. So this is a very good exercise. All right. So now we come back to a breath, but let go of the belly button. Just feel your breath. I know I'm breathing in. And now that you're paying attention, you actually notice that your stomach actually moves slightly, opening the stomach, right? It actually does it by itself. You can feel it. And when you breathe out, you feel that the stomach collapses ever so slightly. All right, so you want to maintain that feeling. Come back to the body, stretch the spine, lift up your shoulder, lean back, relax. And if you can, rotate the hip forward, lean back so you can feel the stress on the lower back. All right, so now back to the breath, one breath at a time. This time, I want you to anchor your mind on the lower part of your spine. And the minute that you sense that you're breathing in, I want you to move from the bottom of your spine up the spine towards the top of the head and stretch the spine when you breathe in. And then when you get to the top of the head, you feel that you're breathing out. All right, so come from the top of the head, down the forehead, down the nose, through the tongue, and then come to your stomach. And as you do that, I want you to lean back and relax. Breathe in, stretch, move to the top of the head from the bottom of your spine. Breathe out, lean back, relax, come back to the belly button. Let's do that for 3 minutes. Okay, so that's the second basic exercise. It cycles the electricities through your spine to the top of the head and come down. So it actually uses the second most important diaphragm, or maybe the first most important diaphragm, which is the one between your left brain and your right brain. So we have two type. You have two. I don't mean diaphragm. I mean connective tissue. You have one connective tissue, which is the diaphragm below your lung, and then you have one connective tissue which separates the left brain from the right brain. And it's that chamber that allows you to cycle the electricity up and down, up and down, up and down. And so these two basic exercises create something essentially magnetic resonance. So when you have this electricity goes up and down, you create a magnetic field. The magnetic field couples with the magnetic field in the universe. And if you do this with any kind of diligence, you actually feel something rising on your spine when you breathe in, and then you feel that it's returning back to your element, what we call the dantian, the field of fire. Now that's when you're ready for the next step, which is what we call the wandering dragon chasing the pearl. Have you ever been to Chinatown? Anywhere you watch lion dance? And so, in addition to lion dance, they also have the dragon dance. The dragon dance is the one where a bunch of people were holding on to the dragon, and one guy is standing in front of the dragon with a pillow-like thing, a pearl on a stick, and the dragon is always chasing the pearl. So this pearl is the rise of energy within you, and now you just relax. The dragon is actually your mind, and you just follow that pearl up, and when you get to the top, don't stop at the top of the head. It's as if there's a cloud on top of your head, which is the ancestor home of the dragon. And just let the dragons enter into that cloud as hard up as you can. And then when you start to breathe out, it's as if the dragon looks back, sees the body, chase the pearl, come back down to the belly button. And then when you breathe in, dragons rise on the spine again. And when you breathe out, dragons comes back to the stomach. And after a while, you feel like your head is really nice and cool, as if you're so close to the cloud, you completely relax. And then when it comes back to your stomach, you feel like your stomach is full of warmth, as if the stomach is the dragon's cave. The dragons come back to the cave to rest. You wait for your brain breath. You go back up again, completely relax, and then come back down. Okay? All right, let's sit for another 3 minutes. This is called the wandering dragon chasing the pearl. The key is to understand that it's a wandering dragon, it's a free dragon. It's nice and free. It goes wherever it wants to go. Okay. All right. So last week when the student Muhammad said that, oh, this meditation technique is all about focus your mind and redirect your thoughts, right? So sometimes we think redirect means manipulate. It's not really manipulation. It's really about having a choice, right? So you learn to focus, what I call anchoring. Anchor your mind on your body when you walk, anchor your mind on your body when you exercise, and then when you're sitting, when you're standing, and when you're lying down, anchor your mind on your breath, right? This is the basic skill. And I mentioned that it's not anchoring your mind, not knowing how to focus your mind. It's like letting go the child when you take him or her to school, right? I used to take my kids to school and you hold on to them. You hold on to them because you let them go, they run into the street and they get run over by a car or they get kidnapped. It's very dangerous. So not knowing how to um, be mindful, not how to anchor your mind on your body, on your breath, is very dangerous. But once you have the skill, then you can actually choose. And it's not about manipulation. It's about it's redirection. Just means that, oh, this is not a good thought. I don't like this. I just gonna feel it, accept it, and let it go. And that's the ultimate freedom. Is the freedom of your own mind, freedom being able to uh, 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 manage your emotion, right? Because right now, the other side is controlling all the branches of the government plus the media, and they are doing their best to manipulate your emotion. Let's not do that, right? And that's what I meant by empowering ourselves, not to be a victim. All right. So we're going to continue. We're going to get to the we're going to get down to the floor pretty soon to do the breathing exercise today. Now, the breathing exercise we do 1 week, and then the other week we do this Yi Jing Jing exercise. You can sort of say that one is more masculine, more energetic. The other one is more feminine, more restorative. So today the exercise is more restorative. Last week, the week after is more energetic. And so before we do a restorative exercise, once again, let's do an energetic exercise, right? It's the harmony between the two that is important. It's the harmony, the two that's important. And that's really why I am here, is to emphasize that harmony is the answer to everything. You want good health? Harmony between um, your yin and yang, right? You want good emotional health? Harmony, right? You want to bring the health back to our planet Earth? Harmony. You want to bring health back to a country? Hopefully someday we bring back the harmony, not division. All right. It's never about this and that. It's never about, competing the left and the right. It's always about finding a common ground, which unfortunately is something that we don't know how to do anymore. Right. I can't even have a decent conversation with my family because we all have different positions, and that's very sad. That's not harmony, right? All right, so let's do an energetics exercise, stretching. Now you'll find that we're not really stretching muscle, we're stretching what is called the meridians, and these are basically connected tissue. There are this communication channel in the body that is not well understood by the Western scientists yet. They're starting to. All right, so it's all about connective tissue, something people call fascia. Fascia is myofascia, that's mainly the muscle, but you can extend that to say it's actually connective tissue is that one communication system that we have, starting when we were a sperm and an egg. They communicate through the connective tissue, and then they expand through the connective tissue, right? All right. So the most important connective tissue I mentioned is the diaphragm. Let's do some deep breathing. So stretch the spine, open the shoulder, lean back, relax. Let's put our fingers together, put that below our belly button. We're going to take a deep breath as we raise the hand, follow the center of your palm until you get to here. All right. Get ready. Breathe in. Turn your hand, follow the hand, breathe out. Stretch your arm, lock your elbow, unlock the fingers, point the center of your palm outward, and then just like use your shoulder as if you're climbing with your shoulder, and then completely relax back to the starting point. Breathe in, breathe out, looking straight ahead. Climb the mountain, stretch the upper arm. We're actually stretching a meridian called the triple warmer. One last time, breathe in, breathe out, looking straight ahead. Climb the mountain. Okay, back holding the hands together, palm facing up, palm facing down. Bring the hands down until you lock your elbow, looking straight ahead. Bring up your hand, pointing the center of your palm forward. Bring it up, pointing the center of your arm, hand upward. Lean back slightly. Form a straight line between the bottom of your spine, the top of your head, and the center of your palm. And we push, stretching the the main vessel in the spine, and then we lean back, come back to the middle, push entire upper torso, lean to the left, come back, push entire upper torso, lean to the right, come back, push one last time to the left, come back, push, and then to the right, come back. Okay, now follow the hand, come back, completely relax, open the shoulder, lean back, relax, right arm touching the left shoulder, lean back the forehead so you're putting pressure on the right shoulder. Take your left hand, grab the elbow, sit up straight, lean to the left, and then come back the other hand. All right, putting pressure on the left shoulder now. Grab the left elbow, lean to the right, and then come back. Completely relax, focus on our breath, examine our breath. Know that we are breathing very heavy because we just finished an energetic exercise. So just whisper to yourself, I know I'm breathing in, I know I'm breathing out. And you slow down your breathing, you slow down your mind, and then now sit up straight, open the shoulder, lean back, relax. Left hand facing up, fingers forward, right hand, put that between your fingers in your palm, bring down the left hand, push out the left elbow, looking straight ahead. Use your elbow to push your hand up, palm facing forward. Now, don't turn your body, just bring your left arm to the right. Come back, relax. Same thing on the other side, palm facing up, left hand between palm and the finger, bring it down. Focus on your elbow, push your elbow, lock your elbow, eyes forward, bring up your hand, palm facing forward. Without turning your body, bring your right arm to the left, and then come back, completely relax, focus on the breath, whisper to yourself, I know I'm breathing in, I know I'm breathing out. Once again, open the shoulder, lean back, relax. Right arm facing up, right hand facing up, left hand facing down. Open the shoulder. Now focus on the right arm, right hand, as if you're pushing the sky. Push. Lock your elbow, wrist 90-degree. Now focus on the left palm. Push down as if you're pushing the earth down. Lock your elbow, wrist at 90-degree. Now take your right arm, bring it back. Turn your head to the left until you reach the shoulder. And then turn your eyes as if you're looking at your back. Bring your eyes back, bring your head back. And then relax the other side. Open your shoulder. Left hand, push all the way up. Lock your elbow, wrist at 90-degree. Right arm down, palms facing down, wrist at 90-degree. Lock your elbow. Now left hand back, head to the right, eyes to the back, eyes come back, head come back, and then relax. All right. Now we're going to stretch the spine. Again, open the shoulder, lean back, relax. Hands locking, fingers locking, palm facing up, put that on your lower back. Palm facing down, bring it down until you lock your elbow. Now at the same time, focus on top of your head and at the center of your palm. And you bring your head up and you push down your palm, one up, one down, stretch that spine, stretch that shoulder, and then relax. Lean back the forehead so you're looking at the ceiling 45-degree. Focus on the center of your palm, bring it up, all the way up, and then relax. Back to the breathing. Whisper to yourself, I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Once again, open the shoulder, lean back, relax. Right arm touching your spine, top of the head facing the sky, looking straight ahead. Focus on your right shoulder up, and relax the other hand. Looking straight ahead, left shoulder up, and then come back. Completely relax. Whisper to yourself, I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Open the shoulder once again. Lean back, relax. Right hand, the back of the hand at the lower part of your spine. Two fingers pointing to your left shoulder. Bringing down the right shoulder, fingers up, and then relax the other hand. Bringing down your left shoulder, fingers up. And then now two hands, fingers touching. Make sure you're looking straight ahead. And then right shoulder up, left shoulder down. And then relax the other hand. Looking straight ahead, left shoulder up, right shoulder down. And then relax back to the breathing. Restoring that harmony. Focus on your breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Check the inside of your mouth. Okay, we're doing energetic exercise, but as soon as we restore our harmony, our mouth should be wet again. Last exercise called reverse Buddha. Stretch your spine, open the shoulder, lean back and relax. Put your palms together, center palm touching, fingers pointing down. Rotate your fingers so fingers are pointing up. Bring up your hand and then make sure your palm is touching. Now push your hands forward, lean back the shoulder, one forward, one backward. Maintain that pressure, focus on the breath. Relax, back to the breathing. Okay, all right. So now we're ready for the floor exercise. Now, historically, we always spent a big part of the time sitting, and then the last half hour we are doing floor exercise. And the genesis of that is that in the very beginning, maybe actually right at the beginning of the pandemic, I had a lot of students who were chair bound, either just chair bound or wheelchair bound. And so we started by doing just sitting exercise. Okay, that's the that's the genesis. All right, so now let's continue with our joint exercise. We did the wrist. It's time to do the heel. We did the elbow, which means the knee. We did the shoulder, which means the hip. Okay. All right. So let's put our hands on the knee, bend the knee slightly, and then just turn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. Now to the heel. First, the right heel, right heel forward, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now left heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now the next one is really very the exercise actually has a different benefit. One is that one has to do with balance. Okay, so it's very important that we do exercise that focus on balancing the body as we get old, and people who suffer from dementia usually lost the ability to balance, right? So we're gonna, and then the other one part is that it actually activates the kidney meridians, and so if you have lower back problem, this is a very good exercise. All right, so let's sit up straight, stand up straight, open the shoulder, relax, looking straight at the camera. Focus on top of your head now. This is all about balance. So focus on top of the head and then slowly stand on your toes. Lift up your heel, right? Don't look down, look straight ahead, focus on top of your head. And then when you come down, impact the heel slightly. The heel is the bladder meridian, which is the yang side of the kidney. Now, second time, balance, and then slightly, okay? Now make sure you stand on the soft surface so you don't bounce on the hard surface, all right? One last time, and then impact the heel. It's a very good exercise, okay? Now, the next one is going to be very challenging. It's really about balancing on one foot, but on the other hand, it's very good for preventing dementia. So we stand on the left, we balance, so we lift up the right, we're looking straight ahead, we focus on top of the head, and then we go one, come back to the top of the head, otherwise you lose balance. Two, looking straight ahead. Three, okay? Now you stand on the right foot, you balance first, and then one, two, three. Okay, all right. Finally is the hip. The hip is very important as we age. And because when we fall, the only part that can lift it up is the hip. So if the hip is frozen, then you're going to fall very easily. And this is a simple exercise. You stand on your right foot, you put your hands together, you're looking straight ahead, you bring your body to the left foot, you form a straight line between the heel, the knee, the hip, and the shoulder, and you just twist along that straight line as far as you can. And then you go back, you relax, second time, and then you relax one last time, and then you relax, right? You feel that you just kind of twist that left hip. Now time for the right hip. Bring it to the right, you twist forward, relax, second time, you twist forward and relax, and you twist and forward and relax. All right. So many of you are dancers. If you're a dancer, you can skip this part. All right. So now we're ready to do the breathing exercise, what the yogis call pranayama. Yama means practice. Prana means breathing in your stomach, right? Prana particularly means opening your stomach, breathing in. They actually focus on the out breath more than they focus on the in breath. All right. So this exercise is genius. You don't need to actually think about anything. You just have to follow, and you follow the center of your palm. You bring it up, you bring it towards the body, and then you bring it down, lower your knee, and then you stand back up. It's just that easy. Follow your hand, you breathe in all the way in, and then you breathe out. Make sure you relax when you breathe out. Follow the hand, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Now we can change form. Breathe in, cross your hand, focus on the palm, breathe out all the way out. Then bring it back in, and then breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Now you bring your hand open like this, but you keep breathing out. And when you get all the way open, you continue to breathe out, right? Okay. And then you breathe in, and then breathe out. One last time. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And sit up, stand up straight. We're going to do standing meditation now. So I mentioned that you sit like the bell, you stand like the pine tree, which means that your feet has to be firm in the ground as if you're growing roots. The rest of the body has to be flexible. You loosen up your knee, you open your shoulder, you loosen your shoulder, you lean back the forehead, you relax the forehead, you close your eye, you relax the eyelid, and then you focus on your breath. You do that one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Just whisper to yourself. Okay, so you notice that the set exercise is almost always opposite of what your lung wants to do. So, for example, in this case, we breathe in and then we open the lung and we breathe out, right? So, your lung is already open and you want to breathe out. So, the lung doesn't give anymore, which means that you're lifting up your diaphragm, right? So, it's just the practice of the diaphragm. So, let's continue with that. And this one is called the balloon breathing. Right foot in front, lean back so the toes are pointing up, and you're looking at the ceiling. You bring up your hand, you roll your body forward, you embrace yourself, looking down at the ceiling 45-degree. Your left foot, the heel is up. And then you roll back, opening, looking at the ceiling again. Now, as you roll forward, you're compressing your lung and you breathe in opposite of what your lung wants to do. And when you open the lung, you breathe out. See, you're exercising the diaphragm without you knowing it. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, it's very important that you relax when you breathe out. Follow the hand, breathe in, breathe out. And just try to keep your back straight so you're not compressing your lung. Breathe in, relax, breathe out. One breath at a time. In, out. Close your mouth because you want to keep your mouth wet, right? In, out. Breathe in, breathe out. One last time. Breathe in, breathe out. Lower your hand, follow the hand. From the hand to the feet, one, two, 1 minute. Breathing exercise, standing meditation, one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. After you breathe out, you recommit to the next one. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. As if you're putting coins in a piggy bank, one coin at a time, okay? One breath at a time. Okay? Now to the left, breathe in, breathe out. Opening, in, out. In, breathe out. In, out. In, breathe out. Okay, one more time. Follow the hand, breathe in, breathe out. Lower your hand. Back to the standing position. 1 minute. So now you know why we have to do joint exercise on all the joints because you're using all the joints, right? One breath at a time. Okay, now the next one is even more obvious. We breathe in when we collapse the lung, we breathe out when we expand the lung. It's called the butterfly. All right. All right. So first we stand up straight, relax. Okay. All right. So now lift up your hand, follow the hand, and then bring down your hand, follow the hand all the way down, lower your knee, and then bring it back up. Raise your knee, and then raise your heel so you're standing on your toes until the back of the hand is touching on top of your head. As you come down, collapsing your lung, you breathe in. As you go up, you expand your lung, you breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. In, out. Follow the hand. In, out. In, out. In, out. One last time. In, out. Now lower your hand, lower your heel, and then relax. Another minute of standing meditation, one breath at a time. Okay. Now the next one is called push hand. We're getting deeper and deeper into our spiritual practice, and this one is actually you just feel it without thinking. Just feel it. So you imagine that you have a water wheel in front of you. You bring it up to the top of the water wheel, and then you bring it back down. You lower your body, looking straight ahead as if you're pushing through the middle of the water wheel. Okay. And as you bring it up and down, you breathe in, and then you breathe out. Now the key is when you breathe in, you open your shoulder, and then when you breathe out, it's as if you push from the lower back forward. In, out. All this time, you follow the center of your palm, and you focus on feeling it without thinking it. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. In, out. In, open your shoulder, out. One last time. In, out. Okay, come back. Notice once again, you're using all your joints, right? Okay. Left. Focus on the center of your palm. Breathe in, bring it up. Continue to breathe in and then breathe out. Push. Breathe in, open your shoulder. Breathe out, push. In, out. In, out. Just follow your body, okay? Follow your body. Accept your body. Don't judge your body. Just feel it. Breathe out. In, out. Breathe in, breathe out. One last time. In, out. Okay, back to the standing. One last 1 minute meditation. Okay. Now the next one, the last one is less about meditation, right? Because right now all four of them is essentially a meditation technique, right? We have both the dynamic and the static. The last one is really more about relieving what's called the adrenal fatigue, right? So if you go to the doctor and the doctor asks you to stand up quickly, and he's looking to see if you have problem with your adrenal gland, because if you stand up quickly and you have lightheadedness, it means that you've been under stress for a long, long time, and your adrenal gland just give up, not putting on the stress hormone, not trying to readjust your heart rate based on your change in gravity, right? So this exercise is really to prevent that or to reverse that. But if you have a history of lightheadedness when you stand up, you either skip this one or you put a chair next to you just for safety. Okay, very important. Very simple. Just stand up straight, take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out, open your knee all the way down, and then bend your back forward. And then back up, breathe in, bend your back backward, and then relax. Second time, breathe out, breathe in, and then relax. Last time, breathe out, breathe in, and relax. Back to the chair. And one of the doctors actually said that when he asked his patient to do simple exercise, just going from a sitting to a standing position, he can predict how many years the patient can live. Because that's how stress really affects your health span, not lifespan, not only lifespan, but your health span. All right, so let's sit for 5 minutes, and you can choose between the three. One is simple in and out, which is stomach. Two is cycling it in and out, up and down. And then the three is the wandering dragon, where you actually have to relax. Okay, all right. And we got 5 minutes. Let's do that. Okay, open your eyes. So I talk about how meditation is really a sanctuary for your mind, right? It's that 5 minutes that you can just kind of isolate yourself from all the craziness and focus inward. But it is also 5 minutes worth of training you to be more sensitive to your body and your breath so that you can use them, uh, as what we call emotional intelligence, right? Using your body and your mind, your breath as intelligence agents, giving you warning, right, on your state of mind, on your emotion. So when something happens outside, you don't have to follow it. Your body and your breath will tell you. Okay. Yeah. So Mato says that when I do these four exercises, I slow them down to where I'm doing one for every two. Yeah. So that's a good point. You don't. The challenge I have is that I have students who's been with me for 4+ years, and I have students that just come in for the first time, and so I have to find the right pace and to kind of address all. But on the other hand, you don't have to follow me. You can actually slow it down and and mainly focus your mind, anchoring your mind. And just like the mother says that I already feel warmness in the palms. That's the chi. That's true. That is true. So the two things is that, and so for example, next week we're going to do some exercise, and I'll mention mixing the water and fire. All right. So water and fire in the context of growing vegetable is the harmony between the sun and the water, right? And in between is the soil. In the context of the body, the fire is the heart and the water is the kidney. And it's the balance internally, and raising the water elements will make your mouth wet, and lowering the fire element means that you're keeping your body warm. And you can start to feel it in your palm, you feel it in the bottom of your feet, you feel it in your ears, right? All the extremities, because your chi is actually traveling to the end points, right? Very important point. Thank you, Martha. All right. So for those of you who don't have, this is the end of class. So those of you who don't have time to stay, but are still interested in a Dharma talk, just come back. It will be recorded, edited separately, so you can listen to it on your own time. Or for those of you who might get offended with what I said, now it's time to stop, right? Now, last week I told you I didn't really feel like giving a Dharma talk. I don't really feel like engaging the craziness of the world. This week, I really don't want to do a Dharma talk, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway with the promise to myself that either this would be the last Dharma talk, or I'll come back next week and start talking about Buddha's teaching again. And perhaps with Heart Sutra, perhaps talk about why five skandhas are empty. But with that promise, I think that I will continue with today's Dharma talk, which is really not about Dharma. It's about empowerment. So I talk about how it is important that we have this hang on, I pushed the wrong button, that we treat this time that we have together not only as the boot camp where we train our mind, train our body, train to understand our emotions, and ultimately for our spiritual health. But understand that it's also a forum and a gathering place, a town square, where we can share our common experience in how to empower ourselves so that we don't become victims. That's what the other side wants to do, both left and right. Both left and right want you to become victims. And we don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want to be victimized, but we also don't want to feel like we're victims. We want to empower ourselves. So last week, I had this thought after class. I had this thought that, hey, it's time to talk about how to empower ourselves as consumers. And of course, I had in mind Tesla and Elon Musk. And I don't have problem with Trump being our president because he was elected. He was not only elected, he was popularly elected. I have to accept that this ironically, is still a democracy. Now, what he does once he's in power, destroying the democracy, that's something else. But at least he was elected. Elon Musk was not elected. And I talk about how the billionaires, the multi-billionaires, they ran out of things to do. They ran out of toys. And so they're now treating us as the toys. They're now trying to run this country the way they think is right for them. Elon Musk is a South African, and same as his benefactor, Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel was a German. They really disliked DEI, right? They think that that was the reason that their own country deteriorated. But in any case, um, this is the playground. This is a playground, and they are controlling everything. So the only thing that we can control now is money, is our consumer habit. So there's a lot of talk about making English as the official language, the common language. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. I think we should have English as the official language. We should have it as a common language. We can have our own language. I speak Cantonese, I can speak Mandarin. One of my friends speaks Spanish. That reflects the culture, the heritage. I'm all for that. I'm all for having English as a common language, except I already think that we have a common language. America has a common language. It's called money. That is truly a common language. I learned that when I was an entrepreneur. When I was an entrepreneur, I struggled for many years, having myself as an employee, having three more people as employee, having eight people as employee, and then eventually you go to about 200. And I learned to understand motivations and in the sense that some people do it because of their ego. Somebody do it because they want to demonstrate to themselves what they're capable of doing. Some people do it because they want power. They want power over themselves. They want power over others. Everybody does it for different reasons, but they all do it for money. And as you grow your populations from 1 to 1 million, the only thing that they have common is money. And so last week I talked about how Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese monk, went to Martin Luther King to try to plead with him the insanity of the Vietnam War and let Martin Luther King understands that his struggle to bring equality to the people of color should be fought as an economic battle, as an economic battle. And so he was the one that says, hey, there's injustice here because all the rich kids were able to get exam because they can afford to go to college. All the poor kids, especially the black kids, they don't have money to go to college, so they end up being drafted and they die in a senseless war. So he was able to turn money into the common language and turn his struggle into a struggle for the people and not just for the colored people. You know that we do work at the prison. All the donations that I collected on behalf of Venerable De Hong, who spent his life working in the prison, bringing Dharma, bringing compassion and loving kindness to those who are incarcerated, to turn them from prisoner of the cell into freeing them, not to, let me put it another way, not to freedom from the cell, from the physical incarceration, but the freedom from their spiritual incarceration, that they are also prisoner of their own emotion, their own fear, their own hate, their own whatever. And it was a struggle. Everybody who did that, not just everybody who's trying to do that at the prison was a struggle until they can turn it into a economic issue that for every person who if they were sentenced 25 to life, it means that they have already served 25 years. They are eligible for parole. And by bringing Dharma to them, teaching them how the mind works, how the emotion works, and how perhaps they were, a lot of it was because of the trauma they suffered from as a child, because the trauma that the parents suffered from the war and whatever. And they're able to address internally their own wrongdoing. And so when they go to the parole board, they have a very high chance of succeeding the parole, and they were able to get released. For every prisoner that was released, that's $110,000 per year that the state doesn't have to pay. That's one. The other one is that for those who are elderly burden, they're entering the hospice, and that's very expensive. And so by allowing them to address their inner anger, understanding all that, they were able to get released again, saving the person's board money. And finally, 60% of those who are released end up back in the prison. The recidivism is very high among inmates. Those who were taught Buddhist meditation, 0% recidivism. They were able to leave and stay up. That's a lot of money. That's $110,000 per inmate per year. So by turning into economic issue, um, that was our common language. We were able to speak to those who were in power. I remember in 1971 when I came to the United States, everybody smoked. And those who don't smoke, they smoke together. Everybody smoke. They smoke in theaters. They smoke in restaurants. They smoke in bus. They smoke in their workplace. It was hard to fight smoking because smoking was considered a personal liberty until someone decided that there is such thing as secondhand smoke. So once again, they were able to turn that into economic issue. That it was not just the person's freedom to smoke, but his by smoking, he actually intrudes on others and bring a financial burden to the society, not to himself, but to everyone. Again, something that we can turn into our common language, the language of money. And finally, last week I talked about DEI. And so um, I believe that, well, first of all, we have to rebrand it, don't call it DEI anymore. But whatever it is we do, I think diversity, equity, and inclusion is as much of America as anything else, and we need to kind of again bring it into the general public. Okay, so all of that is to say that however powerless you feel, that our government is now controlled by gangsters. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. These are gangsters. Everything to them is transactional. They want Panama Canal because one of the buddy, well, one of the private equity wants the port. He decided to that he would invade Panama if they don't give it up. They now want the mineral in Ukraine. It's not the United States that want the mineral, it's their buddy that wants the mineral, right? They're trying to do the same thing. These are gangsters. They're worse than gangsters. But in any case, they control everything. But yet, we control something. We control our purse. We control our consumptions. So last week after the talk, I said, "Oh, I'm going to talk about that and talk about how we could boycott Tesla and pull the rug under Elon Musk." Now, I actually did that. I actually did that back in October 25th, even before the election. Even I knew which side is going to go. I always thought that it was Kamala was going to win. There's no way that Trump's going to win. But I decided that I didn't like Elon Musk. I didn't like what he stands. I didn't like what he was trying to do. And I sold all my Tesla stock. I sold it at $268. Now, since Trump was elected, the stock went up to $480. That's 80% increase. So on paper, I could have made a lot more money if I didn't make that position. But I thought, hey, it's I don't want to feel that that I'm losing. I do what I want to do. It's what I want to do. I explained to my wife. She support me. Sold all my Tesla stock. Now, I didn't check today, but on Friday it went down to $248. So it actually went down 50% from the peak. So you can say, yeah, that was the right choice, but it was my choice. Now, that was Sunday. I was thinking about that, thinking that, hey, maybe I should talk about that and just kind of make sure that everybody don't feel that they're a victim because they still have some power. And little did I know that when comes one day, everything crashed, including Tesla stock crashed crazy. It just crashed crazy. So just to tell you how much money was lost because people wanted to give up their Tesla, and so I look it up. Elon Musk owns 410 million shares, which is about 13% of Tesla. At at the peak, it was worth 197 billion. He lost half of that just because we decided not to buy his cars anymore. So you might say, well, but he still have a lot left. It's not how's that going to hurt him? But what you don't know is that one, I believe, like um, um, 1/3 of his Tesla stocks are serving as collateral. So you remember back in 2023, he bought Twitter. At first, he wanted to buy it, and then he didn't want to buy it, and then he was forced to buy it because he already signed the agreement. So he ended up borrowing a lot of money from the bank, and the bank uses his Tesla stock as collateral. And you know what's going to happen when Tesla stock drop to a threshold is that the bank is going to recall his loan, and that's why he panicked. He panicked to the point that he turned our president into a car salesman. That was funny. That was ironic. Last week I talked about our economy, and I think one way to understand our economy is to understand it in terms of a pyramid. So you have one pyramid where the top is very small and the bottom is very wide. And then you have another pyramid, which is an inverted pyramid. Very few people at the top owns a lot of wealth. A lot of people in the bottom together owns very little wealth. That's what's happening today. That 1%, just 1% of the top of the pyramid owns 30% of the wealth, the inverted pyramid. The bottom 50% only owns 2.6%. The top 10% of the household are now responsible for 50% of the consumer spending. So if you are working poor, I don't think there's much economic power you have, but there's a whole bunch of us who are kind of in the middle. We're not the 1%, we're not the multi-billionaire. So this is how it's divided. What is the 1%? 1% is anyone who has a net asset of about $13 million. Some of them has much more than that, but that's the threshold. What is 5%? 5% are those who has a net asset of 2.5 million. That's most of us. If you live in San Francisco, you just the value of your house is at least half or more of that. So you're getting close. 10% are those who have a net assets of money. That's all of us who own a house. Now, obviously, when just because you own a house doesn't mean you have a lot of money spending, but that's the point. That's the point. So, in other words, if you're the working poor, you don't actually have that much room. But if you think that you're middle class or even upper middle class, you have a lot of power in terms of how you choose to spend. So first you wanted to do is look at the top 10 wealthiest person in the world and you make your choice. Because each one of those wealthy person, each one of those billionaires, their money was not printed. Their money was earned by your spending. Number one is Elon Musk. He owns Tesla, he owns Twitter, he owns SpaceX. I'm not buying his stock. I'm not even buying his car. And if I have a friend who buys his car, I tell him to sell it. If I have a friend who wants to buy an electric car, I tell him not to buy a Tesla. Boycott the asshole. The second wealthiest man is Facebook. Facebook is evil. Mark Zuckerberg had a meeting with Trump, and the first thing he did was that he removed all the fact checking in his website. Facebook is evil. Now, I have no choice. I have to post my video on Facebook. I don't click on the ad. There are advertising company. I don't click on that. If I see something I like, I go and I do a search separate from Facebook. Number three is Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon. I have to use Amazon. I don't particularly think that Amazon is evil, but Jeff Bezos owns Washington Post. I don't subscribe to Washington Post, but neither do I read the. I can read the free version. I don't click on the ad. Number four is someone who owns Louis Vuitton. He's the only person who's not American. After that, you have Larry Ellison, Bill Gates. Bill Gates is not particularly evil. Warren Buffett, he's okay with he's my buddy. Larry Page, who's the co-founder of Google, and then also Sergey Brin. Now, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, they're retired, they don't do all much. On the other hand, Sergey Brin actually went out and says he's gonna donate all his personal wealth to Elon Musk. Wow, how does that happen? That's amazing. And number 10 is Steve Ballmer, who owns Microsoft. But anyway, you look at the list, and then there's another list. I don't want to repeat it. Are the 10 billionaires who support Trump, people who are now Secretary of Department of Education, um, who's a grandson of Andrew Mellon of the Carnegie Mellon. These are very rich people. Their wealth comes from inheritance. Not much we can do. Most of them are not really in the consumer business, except the last one, which owns Circus and Circus. So if I go to Las Vegas, I'll stay away from that. The point is, don't feel like you are a victim. You have power. Speak the language of this country, which is money. Use your spending as your power. Okay? All right. So next week, I'm done with all these talk about a state of affair. I want to go back to um, Buddhist teaching. And Alexa says, yes, she likes, let me see if I can find. Okay, Alexa says, please do next week speak on Heart Sutra, how 5 scanters are empty. So quickly, when I talk about Dharma, I talk about the Dharma seal, which is the seal approval. 3 things. One is called emptiness. One is called impermanence. And then finally, there's something else that I need to find the English translation. I will circle around these 3, talk about, and I think that I think it's enough. I think it's enough. Enough about this. I to be honest, I just wanted to make sure that all of us have the tools to protect our soul, protect our mind, and because I was confident, and you know that I was confident that that our country are full of people with goodness in the heart. I'm convinced of that. I'm also convinced that the other side will self-destruct. All right? Okay, see you all next week. Namaste. Okay, 星期一見. Okay, bye bye.